Alright guys, it's Doc here, and we're going to do a video on what at least two people have requested. It's a hardcover Premiere Classic version of Spider-Man Torment by Todd McFarlane. McFarlane had been working on ASM back in the late 80s to early 1990, and he had gotten disillusioned with having to draw other people's literature. He wanted to be his own man. He wanted to be a writer, penciler, and inker. So he thought about leaving Marvel, decided not to do it when they offered him his own Spider-Man book. Excuse me. It was going to be the fourth monthly Spider-Man title, and they just called it Spider-Man, or as a lot of people call it, the adjectiveless Spider-Man. So this runs from issue 1 through 5 of the brand new Spider-Man title that came out in 1990. And he, like I said, is writer, penciler, and inker on the title. So that is the main cover, the regular cover, I guess cover A in today's parlance. There was also multiple other covers, like a black and silver cover and a gold and black cover. What I've always enjoyed about McFarlane is the level of detail that he puts into his scenes. You can see right here on this massive double-page spread, look at all the intricate line work. Look at the spaghetti webbing that McFarlane did. It was something that you'd never seen before. These were my first 5 comic books that I ever bought. I bought them from Walmart in Collierville, Tennessee in a 5-pack, and they were actually $4.99. So, but this is Torment Part 1. Artist and writer Todd McFarlane. Letters by Rick Parker, colors by Bob Sharon, and the editor-in-chief at the time was Tom DeFalco. He's still working out some of the details on this first issue. He'd been drawing Spider-Man for almost 3 years at that point. He'd been on Amazing Spider-Man, minus a few issues where he took off an issue or two, for 30 issues. So he was comfortable with the character. But now he was getting comfortable with doing everything himself, writing, penciling, and inking the title. But you've got more images of that amazing artwork that he did for this character. It just brings out the life. Now, the story itself is not the strongest Spider-Man story that you'll ever read. The doom, doom, doom of the drums gets a little old, as does the repetitive rise above it all at the beginning of every issue. But you can see Todd at the height of his power. Look at the level of detail just in Parker's face and the arms. Look at Mary Jane. I mean, right here, you see, all the detail in the knuckles and the hands. It looked like you were staring at something outside your window. It just brought all this to you. So to give you an idea of what the story is about, the lizard is awoken by these drums. And Peter and Mary Jane are just having a humdrum kind of day. Everything's calm, cool, collected. They're just enjoying married life together. And meanwhile, the lizard is out here carving people up. I'm not going to go through page by page, but the detail, blood dripping off of the lizard who had just been shot a couple pages previously by this character with the black hair down in the far left. You don't normally see these things in a Marvel comic in 1990. you know, and there's even foreshadowing there. You know, Connors. He was trying to let somebody know. And that's a Spidey pose that we all know and love. So Peter decides to go out web swinging. He's enjoying his time above the city. He wishes Mary Jane could join him. Meanwhile, more people in more back alleyways are getting taken out by the lizard. And, you know, again, it shows that Todd was just learning his craft at writing. He swings above it all, while the lizard, it crawls below. So that's the end of the first issue. Second issue, you've got these two guys coming out here in business suits, and one guy's, you know, how do you stand the old man? And the other guy said, oh, because he's going to find a big thing of rubber vomit in his seat when he gets in there in the morning. And he says, you know, I wouldn't have the guts to do such a thing. Look at the detail, and more importantly, look at the camera work. You've got something coming out of the sky, coming and descending down on these guys. But the amount of detail that is put forth in this man's face and his neck and his shoulders, the hairline, it shows that at that point, Todd was still happy to work in other people's sandboxes. And here's where Peter finds out what's going on with Connors. And he goes to take off. See, look at how detailed and finely detailed Mary Jane is. Her face, her fingers, her hands. And we cut away to Calypso, who is living in Craven's old brownstone in the city. She's putting the spider and the lizard together. Meanwhile, Peter's spider sense is going off like crazy. He's trying to figure out exactly what's going on. And it hits him so hard that he actually goes flying off of this building. Through this window. And then through another window, here comes the lizard. In all of his glory, in all of his anger, all of his frustration. He realizes really quickly that the lizard is not here to play. He's playing for keeps. Tearing through walls, tearing through doors, just to get to Peter. So he kicks him and ends up impaling him on a piece of wood and steel. And he's like, I killed Doc Connors. And he looks back and it's not there. It's almost like a horror story. It's like Todd wanted to, and I've read somewhere before that Todd wanted to go and make this character make this title a horror title. He eventually wanted to take Peter's arm off of him. He wanted the lizard to rip Peter's arm off. And of course, Marvel was like, yeah, we're not going to go that route. We're not going to do that. But just, it always takes me back to just how much fun comics used to be. Say what you will about Jim Lee, Liefeld, McFarlane. All of those guys were doing something dynamic at Marvel that was just next level. It was stuff that had never been seen. You see Calypso, the power of Calypso. See the frustration on Mary Jane's face with the guy who is, you know, going to knock her drink out of her hand. See a lot of Spawn in these pages, honestly. When you're going through there, you see a lot of what he would do later on. But as detailed as Spawn's costume is, those circles and those rings around Spider-Man's fingers, you know, that's one reason why I don't think we've seen a lot of Jim Lee drawn Spider-Man, is because the webbing design on the costume just drives Jim Lee nuts. It messes with his level of detail. So here comes the lizard come at Spider-Man, and that's how we finish off issue 2. It's been raining for like 3 issues now. Just it's all like one night. It's all like it's Spider-Man's worst night. It's like a nightmare for him in these 5 issues. So it all happens in this one night. The sense of power that you get from this artwork, the level of detail in both characters. I don't know, man. I could just talk about this particular set of issues forever, because I used to pore over these issues. My issue 1 that I had was a gold and black silver print, second print cover. I've probably read that thing until the cover is almost detached, because I just love the strength and just how different this looked than what you think about when you think about comics. It's the same way as a writer would do with Alan Moore. You read Alan Moore's writing on Swamp Thing, and it elevates the entire genre. It elevates the comic book to be something else. It elevates it to be literature. And while Todd's writing had, gotten better, it was still not Alan Moore. But then again, it had improved. And then when you've got artwork like this, how can you argue any of that? You've still got the doom, doom, doom in the background. The lizard here is about to take Spider-Man out. He's going to bite his jugular. And then he gets the message from Calypso and says, stop. This is not what we're doing. We're not going to do that. He has to suffer first. So he throws him down into the alleyway with doom, 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 doom all through the page. Just those drums just beating. It's like voodoo from Godsmack, if you ever listen to that. It's almost like it brings you almost into a trance-like state, because you just hear that in your head. You hear the doom, 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 doom. And it puts you in that trance-like state where you're just like, what's going to happen next? So Mary Jane's going to head home again. She headed home once, and Peter wasn't there, so she headed back out to go party some more. Peter's trapped, not really trapped, but I've seen this pose before too, that he's just kind of laying there in the fetal position, trying to get his bearings. It shows his origin again with the spider and Uncle Ben. It says that's when he became a man. That's when he became a Spider-Man. Lizard is still on the prowl. Mary Jane's trying to flag a cab. And shows the utter destruction of the character of Spider-Man, the things that he has to go through. And at the end of the 3rd issue, then we see Kraven. And again, look at the detail on Spider-Man's outfit. The dust, the water, the debris from him swimming in that lake of trash earlier. And you see the level of detail even on Kraven's leg. That sinister smile. And then you see Peter's hands. I can't believe this. And here's Kraven. And I won't linger on that image too long because it's dark. But it shows where he shot himself in the head. Believe it. He's swimming through the muck. And Calypso is just laughing and having a good time and enjoying taking Peter apart mentally, piece by piece. She finally got home. He's still not home, so she goes back out, grabs another cab, and goes back out. Meanwhile, they're in a church, or at least that's what it looks like. Peter's like, maybe I'm getting through to Doc Connors. He's smiling. Does he understand that, you know, hey, come on, help me out here? No, not at all. Doc is going to try to feed on him. But he's too weakened to try to break out of his bonds. She's gone out partying again, having a good time. Peter's getting mentally destroyed by Calypso and the lizard. And again, the level of detail in McFarlane's artwork with her hair and in the outfit and the leopard skin. He finally breaks free of his bonds. Trance has been broken. There's no time to move as Craven's brownstone goes up in flames. And his last thought is of Mary Jane. Now we have part 5 of 5, the finale. Again, look at the amount of detail that McFarlane was putting into faces, noses, eyes, the expression. Peter's ravaged. He's hanging from the rafters in what was Craven's house. Sweat just pouring off of him. Fire department trying to make it to the 5-alarm blaze. Peter's trying to figure out who Calypso is and why she's tormenting him the way that she is. Gas line ruptured and just decimated the building. There's the cabbie again, almost got hit head on by the cops. The drums start up again. Finally, Calypso finds that he's above them. So Peter breaks free and tries to take down Connors without killing him. Meanwhile, Calypso is just laughing in the background, watching these two fight with each other. Mary Jane's still trying to make it home. Peter dodges out of the way of the lizard. He says, Mary Jane, I'm coming home. He throws the chains at the lizard and breaks his neck. Calypso collapses the building in on herself so that she's not caught. She says there'll be more time. You know, I'm a witch. I'm a shaman. I'll have all the time in the world to kill this spider. I don't know about you guys, but to me that doesn't look like McFarlane. That looks like Mark Teixeira's artwork. It looks very strongly like Teixeira to me. I don't know if it's the coloring or what it is, but that one panel looked like it could have been inked by Teixeira. So at the end, he returns home. And then the lizard awakens with one last final doom. And in the back, it's got some extra features. The cover to Marvel Age number 90, which had a reprint of this first issue. It's got some trivia here. An artist profile for Todd McFarlane. Some Fred Hembeck artwork with Spider-Man on it. And an article here, a 2-page article by Peter Sanderson, talking about how McFarlane wanted to change Spider-Man and the changes that he wanted to make. And here's the second cover for that title, silver and black. There was a chromium variant. There's a black suited variant. And then there's the platinum variant, it says. And that's right there. This right here is the first issue I ever owned. That's the first comic book I ever owned, was that cover right here. And then here's a recolored green cover, cover A for that title. A house ad. And then a recolored shot. And a big 2-page splash page from McFarlane. And then a recolored second cover, virgin second cover, without any kind of trade dress. So guys, I hope you really enjoyed this. This is one of my most favorite 5-issue runs on Spider-Man ever. Like I said, the writing is not gonna be transcendent. It's not gonna raise you above it all, to pun intended. But it definitely will give you an idea of why the people that grew up in my generation and people that have come after and people that came before love Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man. It is bombastic, it's exciting, it brings with it a level of power that you just don't see and a level of detail that you just don't often see in modern comics. It was a transcendent time, like I said, with him and Liefeld and Jim Lee. All of those things came together to make this one of the most classic Spider-Man comics of all time. Thanks for watching, guys. If you do check this out, let me know which one of the other 2 videos you would like to see first. Would you like me to tackle Demon in a Bottle from Iron Man? Or would you rather me tackle Born Again by Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli?